sour cherries are one of those great ingredients that you can use. They're great for gout, all sorts of arthritis. Nutritionally, they're little powerhouses. And nowadays you can buy these in supermarkets all over the place, frozen, which is what I'm taking advantage of here. I'm going to make a kind of a little chopped sour cherry and chocolate tray bake. What I'm going to use, the main sweetener, I'm going to use a little bit of brown sugar, just a tablespoon. The main sweetener I'm going to use are pitted prunes. Now prunes and chocolate, French patisserie have long known this, that prunes and chocolate are a great match, especially when making brownies. You know, sometimes your brownies might end up a bit dryish, but when you add in prunes, it gives a lovely moistness to it, and you can barely tell they're even there. And also they're bringing heaps of fibre into the dish as well. So this dish is all about getting fruit into a dessert. Now again, it's still a dessert. You don't eat all you want. It's still a high calorie, high sugar, dish. But it's using, and I'm going to use an oat flour on this. All I've done is got rolled oats and blended them into a flour. And very, very useful little trick that, and using a bit of coconut milk into it as well in this. You could use normal milk just to moisten it up, but it's and just kind of playing around with just a nice simple little recipe here. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to put my prunes into a liquidizer, and I'm going to put those in just something to catch with the liquidizer. I'm going to put in my coconut milk. I'm going to then add my coconut oil into this. Now I've just slightly melted this, just more softened it, just give it a nice kind of richness. And then I'm going to just blend that up, just to make a nice kind of pulp. If you're finding it's getting a little bit dense like that, all I'm going to do is just use the juice off the frozen cherries. I'm going to pop those in there. Just use every little piece of ingredient that I have. And that's just the juice. Literally, when you thaw out those cherries, you're going to get a little bit of runoff juice, and just pop that in there as well. So you get this lovely, nice, vibrant prune coconut base. Just going to put that aside for a second. Then switch my machines. And into my mixing machine, I'm going to add my 4 eggs. That one out of the way. Just going to add my 4 eggs. My sugar. My cocoa. Just normal nice dark cocoa powder. I'm going to put them down and give them a nice twisting. Oh, my eggs are a little bit whisked up, and And now I'm just going to add that nice cherry prune pulp. And again, I'm just going to allow those to whisk up there for a second more, just to bring them all in together. At this stage now, I'm going to add my baking powder. Just kind of incorporate that through the mixture. And you'll have a kind of a classic little kind of a cake batter, only for using the coconut and that and the eggs. Just brings it into a nice kind of a moist dish. And then finally, and by hand, I'm going to just add in my oat flour. And I'm just going to just stir that in like normal. Just kind of fold it in because I want to kind of keep some of the lightness from whisking the eggs. So I have kind of a normal little cake batter here. But again, when you're making these kind of chocolate dishes, and that's all just gone in there. The oat flour is a very easy to use flour. Now, what I'm going to do here is, with the remainder cherries I have, I've just literally this is a little silicone mold. Good non-stick pan is the best, but if you can get these silicone molds, they're fantastic. And I've literally used half a teaspoon of olive oil just to grease around the pan and just give it a little bit more non-stick. And I'm going to add all my cherries into that mold. Just kind of spread them out there, spread them out nice and evenly. So it's just a nice even little spread of cherries there. Now I'm going to get my batter. Just kind of cover that over on all the cherries. And you want them to mix down in and kind of mix the cherries in around. I always have baking powder in at the very end as well, because you kind of do have a kind of a bit of a time limit when that starts to react with the ingredients and to get that kind of raising. So it's always best to put it in right at the end. And then you just want to cover all of your cherries with this nice mixture and kind of get it down in around. And then just kind of mix it down in among the cherries so that you get this nice, and when you actually bake it, there's not going to be kind of bubbles and things like that in it. And then I'm going to pop this in an oven moderately hot at about 160 degrees, and that should take in around 30 minutes, although when it comes out I'll give you the exact times. You don't want it too thick in the on the dish either. And that's ready, just into the oven. Just going to give the sides a little wipe, don't want those burning us. Bang it down. And then into the oven. So after 30 minutes at 160 degrees, there's my little bake. Now what I'm going to do is, if you remember, I rested my silicone pan mat in a normal roasting tray. So I'm not going to try turn it off out at the moment. I'm going to let it cool down a bit and just kind of set a bit. But I'm going to just put that onto a cooling tray and allow that cool for about 30 minutes even. Just to kind of let it just cool down. You can see some of those lovely cherries starting to boil up through it. And just check it. You can use a fork or something like that. And just if you just poke it in there, and if it comes out fairly dry, it's most likely cooked. Again, we have a ton of cherries, prunes, fruit in this, but I'm just going to let that rest away until it kind of sets a little bit, because it's a little bit delicate to be going there at this point. Now, having waited about 30 minutes there, just to allow this to set a little bit. Now the cooling tray that it was on, I'm just going to get the cooling tray, pop it on the base, get your hand nice and cleanly underneath it. Then in one quick motion, actually, what I'm going to do is put that back into the tray that it was baked in, because it kind of holds it a little bit more rigid. And now, in one nice motion, just flick it over nice and quickly. With a little luck, our little tray bake will be all good. So as you can see, it's still quite warm there, so I'm just going to let that rest a little bit longer before cutting it up, but you get the idea of it. And I'll just cut a little slice just to see how it's going. Sometimes it's good to actually cut these little dishes. Oh, I shouldn't have really cut it, but you get the idea. And as you can see, you have your lovely little cherry dish. Although don't cut it when it's hot, wait till it cools fully next time.